Live from our studios here at Rage in Accra, the Kia Boahima studio, and on DSTV channel 277. I am Bright Nanakosi Amini, and this is Newsbeat coming up in the next 60 minutes. Minister for Communication Esla Owusu Ekufo reviews use of self-service SIM registration app at a fee needs no parliamentary approval and stands vehemently rejected by other stakeholders. We'll tell you more. The Electricity Company of Ghana begins a nationwide visibility exercise today to check the integrity of meters and address illegal activities of consumers. Ghanaians will struggle for gas and petrol as tanker drivers begin a sit-down strike today in protest of what they describe as unfair treatment. And on the international front, wife of Nigerian street vendor calls for justice after the killing of her husband in Italy, filmed by onlookers, sparked national condemnation. And thank you so much for joining us here on the news this afternoon. Now, the Minister for Communication, Esla Owusu Ekufo, has said the Ministry of Communication does not need parliamentary approval to charge the 5 Ghana cedi being proposed for users of the SIM registration app, since it is being developed by a private service provider. She reviewed this on Accra-based radio station Peace FM earlier this morning. We'll bring the details of that on that particular story. But away from that for now, and on to other issues concerning the SIM registration here in Ghana, as to appropriately address all matters arising to successfully complete the SIM re-registration exercise, we are bringing you a stakeholder conversation. Before I introduce my guest here, is a former MP for Kumbugu, Ras Mubarak, making a case for a parliamentary approval for the use of the self-service app.
Is the fact that at a time Ghanaians are going through a lot of hardship, at a time there is a global recession and serious governments elsewhere are providing relief to their citizens, this government is seeking to impose further hardships on Ghanaians by illegally asking for people to pay a surcharge of 5 Ghana cedis. We would protest and encourage Ghanaians not to pay this illegal, fees that the minister is asking Ghanaians to do. Because clearly, as I said, she hasn't sought the approval of the Parliament of the Republic. And you can't dip your hands into the pockets of the public, to take away their 5 cedis, especially in a manner that is very, very illegal. So we would push back. We would encourage Ghanaians not to pay. And even if she went to Parliament and got approval, we would still encourage Ghanaians not to pay, because this is not a normal time for every Ghanaian. People are going through a lot of hardships. People are struggling and to seek to impose further burden on the public is most unfortunate and disgraceful. If she insists on getting that, on taking 5 cedis away from Ghanaians who are already struggling, then she should humbly go back to Parliament and get the right things done.
So my guests are Idrissa Fuseni, a former Tamale Central MP and a legal practitioner. Palgrave Wachidankwa is a government spokesperson on governance and security. He will join us later in the conversation. And Maximus Ametogo, technology analyst and an app developer. Gentlemen, you're welcome. Let me start with you, Honorable Idrissa Fuseni. Now, how do you respond to assertions by the minister that the 5 cedi surcharge doesn't need parliamentary approval?
Well, it needs parliamentary approval. I mean, without even going on to advance my argument. What has happened is that the government has contracted a private developer to develop an app. So the contract is between the Ministry of Roads, the Ministry of Communications, and that private developer. And that private developer is to be paid for his efforts through the imposition of a charge, a fine, or if you want a user fee. And that user fee has to be approved by Parliament before that can be done. I mean, we have been told of road tolls. I mean, when road tolls final done on roads, the tolls that are to be paid will have to be approved by Parliament. Whatever is an imposition on the people, whatever is in the nature of a fine, a fee, a levy, a user charge, has to get parliamentary approval.
Now, the Minister for Communications says it doesn't need any parliamentary approval. What could be the consequences if government goes ahead with the move?
Well, it will be an illegal imposition. The ministry, in fact, needs parliamentary approval. Also needs parliamentary approval. I mean, government is providing a service. And that service is that, well, you can invoke, use, activate an app on a platform for the purposes of registering your SIM card. That is the government service. The government is saying that for providing you with that service, I'm taking 5 cents. And so that money, when it is collected, will go into the consolidated fund. It doesn't go into a private account. It goes into a consolidated fund. And then the user will be paid either a commission on the number of users or a percentage of the money collected. That is the Ministry of Communication that will pay the user for the development of the app. But for us, as a people, we have been asked by government to use an app that has been developed and put on platforms for the purpose of registering. So the relationship between us and government is that we are going to assess a government service. The relationship between government and the contractor is a contract. And that contract is not between the people and the contractor.
All right, kindly hang it there for me. I'll come back to you later. But Maximus is an app developer. I want to ask you, Maximus, how much do you think this app will cost? Kindly unmute Maximus, please. Kindly do that for me. All right, so we're having a conversation on the back of the SIM card registration, and that, according to the Minister for Communications, Ursula Owusu, an amount of 5 Ghana cedi will be charged for users to be able to access the app that will be launched tomorrow, the 2nd of August 2022, and I'll be joined online by Inisa Fuseni and also Maximus, who's an app developer. Let me come back to you, Maximus. How effective will the app be after it launched, and how much will the cost be?
Yeah, I can't give an idea, of course, because it depends on what goes into the development. But whatever the cost may be, I think government should bear that cost, so we can have more people register their SIM cards easily and then quickly, so they can even meet the deadlines people even think it's not feasible, so they can meet that deadline. So for me, I don't think they should charge any amount for that. The telcos are doing it. They have opened a portal where people can register. They have a short code that people can also start the registration process and the rest. And it's free. So I don't see why government who wants to solve a problem rather should be charging per registration 5 Ghana cedis. It doesn't make sense.
Now, for an app like this, that one has to go on to access the information and even register for a particular thing. We want to find out. You mentioned earlier that you couldn't determine how much it will cost depending on what goes into the app. But on a regular, if such an app is being developed, what should the cost be looking like?
No, that's why I said that I can't give a cost, because you see, there's an interface design that has to be done. There's a user experience, as in how do you go through the whole process, that has to be looked at. And there's also another process where you host it, the security layers, which other platforms the app should talk to verify people and cross-check and all those things. I think that I can't give you an exact cost for that. It depends on how much government is bargaining for. So for me, I can't give you an exact or an approximate amount for the app that will be developed.
All right, and according to the Minister for Communication yesterday at the press conference, she stated that a number of over 42 million Ghanaians haven't registered yet, making it 62% of Ghanaians who are using voice SIMs here in Ghana. Now, will this app be able to help meet the deadline set for 30th of September? Is it possible?
I'm even hearing now that NIA is saying that they cannot issue more than 2 million cards between now and the ending of September. It means that that's not going to be possible. And really, the 42 million or 41 million is mobile subscriptions, not mobile users, because you don't have up to 40 million Ghanaians in Ghana. So you have people with multiple mobile subscriptions. So we should be very clear on that. The unique mobile users are around 16 to 17 million. That's people with multiple SIM or mobile service, how do you call it, SIM cards. So for me, we are not talking about 41 million people. We are talking about 41 mobile subscriptions. So from the SIM, your tablet or your modem to your mobile phones that you have. So that's the number we are looking at for. That's why some of us suggest that if I'm able to register one number, I should be able to link the other numbers that I have to the same thing. I don't need to register each of the numbers that I have individually by submitting my bio data and the rest. It doesn't make sense.
All right, Maximus Ametogo, thank you so much for coming with us here this afternoon. And he is an app developer. I'll let you go for now, but I still have online with me Inus Safuseni, who is a former member of parliament for Kumbugu. Now, Inus, you've heard the app developer speak. What do you make of what he's saying?
Well, it's true. You don't know what you cannot determine the cost of the app because every individual and the cost heads that will go into determining how much an app of that nature will cost to government. And so, I mean, if you had called the person who developed the app, you would have been able to give you the particulars of the costs that went into the development of the app. But it's important.
On the side of the opposition, would you request for the cost to be given out?
Yes. It's important because on what basis is he charging 5 cedis? On what basis is government charging citizens 5 cedis for the use of the app? I mean, so we must know how much the app costs, and so that we know that about 42 million people have not. I mean, 42,000 or million people, or 60% of people in Ghana have not yet activated or taken opportunity to register their SIM cards. If at least 50% of those who are left to register do register their SIM cards, because people have double SIM cards, triple SIM cards, and so some might decide that they want to only put one and abandon the two. So if you scale it down to 50% and multiply by 5, how much money will be generated, and so that we know how much the contractor is to be paid. I mean, these are all transparency requirements. Secondly, you are not even aware. We don't even know how the contractor will be paid. I mean, is he going to be paid by the Ministry of Communication? And what tax will he pay to the government? Because this is a business that he's undertaken, and he has to pay tax on that business. We don't know. We don't know what contract exists between the Ministry of Communication and the app developer. Have they waived taxes for him? We don't know. And so there are many things that the minister must address to convince us that this is not an opportunity to create money for people who are closer to corridors of power.
And also, a section of the Ghanaian populace are calling for the deadline to be scrapped. They would rather want to be given an indefinite time to go to the telcos and have their SIMs registered. What do you make of that as well? Should we scrap the deadline?
I don't think that we should scrap the deadline, because inherently, the registering your SIM card has tremendous advantages for us. I mean, we are being confronted with terrorism all over the place. I mean, bank fraud. SIM card fraud, black boxes. So I mean, government is losing a lot of revenue in the SIM card black box thing, and then we have terrorists using communication devices to be able to communicate. So we must know who is communicating at what particular time. It's important, and where is that person communicating from? Mobile telephone is not intrusive. You can't hide under mobile telephones to cause trouble, to engage in illegality. Anonymity, yes, between third parties might exist, but between government and the mobile telephone provider and the user, there must be some kind of there must be a way to know who is talking and who is doing what at what time. We must know, because if not, we are going to be bombarded with a lot of uncertainties. And so, for me, it should not be scrapped, but everybody should be given an opportunity.
All right. Thank you for your time with us here on the news. Inusa Hussein is a former member of parliament for Kumbogu here in Ghana. Let's still bring you more update on what is happening here in Ghana concerning the re-registration of SIM cards, where the Minister of Communication, Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, has stated that the Ministry of Communication does not need parliamentary approval to charge the 5 Ghana cedi being proposed for users of the SIM registration app, since it is being developed by a private service provider. She revealed this on an Accra-based radio station, Peace FM, earlier this morning.
A app developed by private service providers, and that's the fee for using it for your convenience. Emrane say no unregistered SIM should be activated on any network.
No unregistered.
No unregistered SIM.
It is law.
It is law. Enti yeah register ya kra ye use no gram illegal. All these years, because there were challenges in here. Near to me register and near to me enforce it, sa provision. And that main challenge na omo cited for their inability to register SIMs before activating them. Then they said they couldn't verify the identity documents. No? And that to me verify. That's why I insisted say ubia and register you.
And the Minister for Communication, Honorable Ursula Owusu-Ekufo, there admitting that in as much as we are asked to re-register our SIM cards, the usage earlier is legal, because at the time we had no problems. But now that we are being faced with issues of terrorism and other issues, we are prompted to have our SIM cards re-registered. I'll be joined online now by government spokesperson on security and governance, Palgrave Boakye Dankwa. Good afternoon to you, sir. Welcome to this beat. Now, this SIM registration has been ongoing for nearly a year now. September 30 will mark exactly 1 year since it commenced. How is it that a use of an app didn't come up earlier to allow the process to end successfully?
So a very good afternoon to you, and a very good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. I think that for the SIM registration, having seen that we have close to about 48% of persons that have registered, and seen that there's a shortfall of close to about 62% of persons that have not been able to register, close to about 26 million people. It's important that as a government, you always think outside the box, and the app really is one of the technical partners of the National Communications Authority that is doing this to ease the process of other persons that would want to be able to register their SIM in the comfort of their homes or in the comfort of their offices or wherever they find themselves, or even with diplomas that are, because of work, career diplomas because of work, are not resident in country, diasporans that are also not resident within country, students that are also studying on scholarship in various countries around the world. Opportunity just downloading the app and registering their SIM so they don't number. Be very certain that of the best decisions that government has made. This app is coming at no cost at all to government. It's coming at no cost as well to any other person, just with the exception of the 5 Ghana cedis that you would pay through the processes that you go through to register your SIM.
The question being asked is, why should I pay 5 Ghana cedi? And how much the app even costing government to have it done?
The app is coming at no cost to government. No contract has been signed whatsoever at all. This is one of the technical partners to the Ministry of Communication that is putting together this app. And usually, if these apps are put together, I mean, persons that are consumers of the app, even on our normal day-to-day, people that have iTunes and people that have Spotify, people that are usually even on various platforms on social media, pay for these services. And so it's a normal service of payment that you would pay. Ordinarily, if persons would want to commute from point A to point B to do their registration with any of the telcos, it would come at a cost, which they would be willing to pay in terms of transportation. And so really just sitting in the comfort of your home and paying 5 Ghana cedis for these transactions. I think that is one of the best decisions that we have made to ensure that the 2 months grace period that has been extended till September 30th is met. So we have a sizable number of people not having an excuse of not being able to register their SIM card and being part of the entire process of development and digitalization.
And mentioning that, you know that a number of 48% of Ghanaians who use SIM cards were only able to register their SIMs, and 62% are yet to do that. 2 months, 60 days, is it possible?
Very, very possible. I mean, I think that is extremely possible. The challenge, really, admittedly, is that when you look at the human constellation and the human people would always ordinarily would want to wait until the last minute. We have gone through various educational systems. You've seen how during examination you would want to cram everything into your head in a week and go and write a paper and pass. Whilst ordinarily you're supposed to be studying incrementally as you're coming along your various studies while school has reopened. But we have stated very clearly that having given this extension, people will still have an opportunity to go to the various telcos and do their registration. And also people have an opportunity to download the app. And I think that is a win-win situation. I'm very certain that we shall have our numbers increase with people that are registering. And it's important to be able to state as well that the NDC needs to support this, because this is for the entire country. The continual backlash, really, on some progressive developmental needs of the country is not needful for our development collectively.
All right, and thank you so much. We are grateful for your time here with us. Paul Grieve Boachidankwa is government spokesperson on governance and security. He mentioned about how Ghanaians are reluctant to do things unless it's time for you to close. And with that, let's now go to the centers and see what has been happening there. My colleague Elvis Sando has been visiting some of the telcos in Accra to find out how Ghanaians are patronizing having to register their SIMs.
Communication and digitalization, Esla Owusu Akufo, the date for the SIM re-registration exercise has been extended to September 30. Now, we take a tour to some of the telecommunication centers, and what we have observed after visiting 3 of these places is that the number has decreased drastically. Looking at previous days where we had a lot of people coming in and out to do the SIM re-registration exercise at the Osu branch of the Vodafone office, the number that we have counted is less than 10. You can see right from behind me that these people who are here to do the SIM registration exercise are not even up to 20. Whether or not, if it is due to the announcement as made or a little bit of delay by the others, we can't actually tell. I would like to find out from them as to why. Also find out if they are aware of the extension. I have a lady here with me. Good morning and welcome to Metro News.
Good morning.
Okay, can you share with us, yesterday would have been the deadline, but it has been extended. Were you aware of this previously before coming here today?
No, please.
You were not aware. Okay, so now that it has been extended, how do you feel?
I'm happy because some people are yet to take their Ghana card. So, like, they'll be able to re-register their SIM to avoid disconnection or probably buying of new SIM cards.
Okay. So she is also grateful that the SIM registration exercise has been extended. Let me speak to this man who has just gone through the process. Hello, sir. Good morning and welcome to Metro News.
Good morning.
Okay, can you share with us how has it been for you?
Oh, this morning it was. I spent less than 5 minutes to be able to go through my own.
Why do you have to wait this long before coming to re-register your SIM as announced earlier?
Well, we are busy, but so sometimes we go. Me, I live around American House. I've been there several times, and there was a lot of queue, so I have to go and come back, and I decided to just forget about it. So it's today that I came around and I said, no, let me check in. I came and I saw that the numbers were very, very down. That's why I decided to do it here.
To your colleagues who are yet to re-register their SIM?
I think they should try. They should try because they will come. They will be able to do theirs. Because when I was doing I have 2 SIMs. So the MTN, I waited, and then I think the pressure was down. I went there the same way. I went there. There was no less than 5 minutes. The same as I've experienced it here.
Okay. So thank you very much for speaking with us. So just across the street, we have the
I'm very happy for my colleague Elvis Ando, who has been touring some telcos offices here in Accra to find out what exactly the situation looks like there. You've also had some members of parliament and former MPs as well, like the member of parliament for Kumbugu, Ras Mubarak, talking, and also Idris Ofuseni, who is the former member of parliament for Tamale Central, also speaking on that. Don't forget, WASSCE begins today. Ban on hunting also begins today. And also ECJ's feasibility study also begins today. We'll tell you more about all this after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. It's still Newsbeat. Now, Gas Tanker Drivers Association and Petrol Tanker Unions have begun a sit-down strike in protest of what they describe as unfair treatments from government. According to the associations, they intend remaining on strike until a decision is taken to resolve their outstanding grievances. We are joined on phone lines by Justice Mante, Secretary of the LPG Marketers Association, for a conversation on this. Good afternoon to you, and welcome to Newsbeat. Now, what is the implication of your strike? Help viewers appreciate the effect it will have on the market.
Hello, good afternoon. The strike is not aimed at the market. Even though there's a consequence of the strike, what the drivers are demanding are three simple issues. And they've made these demands to the authorities on several occasions, so they are not new demands. They are being harassed and bullied. Their conditions of service are very, 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 how do I put it? Their conditions of service are very poor, to put it simply. And these conditions of service are further affected by the ban on the construction of LPG stations, because their employers are not in a position to recoup their investments, which they have sunk into several LPG stations which are lying dormant. So their demands are simple: lift the ban on the construction of LPG stations, stop the bullying and the harassment over their tracking and seals which has been put on the tracks, and also improve their working conditions.
And what has been government response to your concerns since you announced that you will be embarking on a strike?
There has not been a response to the grievances so far. I understand the NPA called for a meeting with the drivers this morning, but that meeting couldn't come on. Right. So far, there has been no response from the government.
And what will cause you to return back to your cars to drive and help us get our gas and all that?
Sorry, the question again?
I'm asking, what will cause you to return back to work?
I think the demands are straightforward. It's like the demands are that they need a positive resolution of the grievances before they return to work.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time with us here on the news. We are grateful. And away from that, the annual ban on the hunting and capturing of wild animals, otherwise known as closed season, begins today and ends on the 1st of December 2022 in conformity to the Wildlife Conservation Regulation by Forestry Commission. Director of Stakeholder and Ecotourism at the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission, Richard Jima, says the move is aimed at conserving the wild and ensuring their welfare.
The animals are supposed to be given respite, a form of rest, so that they can recuperate and also be able to take care of their young, nurse them, and then we will see an increase in the wildlife population so that human beings, we can also benefit from the wildlife. So it's a conservation measure. At the same time, it's a measure that we use to take care of the welfare of the animals. And so that throughout the year, if we set a period aside to keep the animals from being hunted upon or captured or being in possession, I think it's a worthy call that we all have to understand and then comply with. Certainly, we at the Wildlife Division of the Forestry Commission, through our inventory, are able to know the numbers, whether they are increasing or not. And you also have to understand that this season is a season where most of the animals do undertake mating, and so that they procreate. And so there's the likelihood that we are going to see increase in numbers from 1st August to 1st December. From previous studies that we've done, we know that it takes place during these times. Most of the animals are active, and then they are able to procreate and bring up their young. It's a way also, like I said earlier, to ensure that the welfare of the animals are also taken care of, and also the conservation and their numbers are maintained. Said that when you are given a license to hunt them, then we know that there are a lot of the animals in the system for you to take, so that it does not affect the numbers of the wildlife.
The Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, has begun a nationwide visibility exercise today to check the integrity of meters and address illegal activities of consumers. This follows a 6-week moratorium offered by the company to engage all concerned stakeholders and to check losses that the company incurs. And joining us now on phone for a conversation is Charles Ni Ayiku, General Manager, External Communications for ECG. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Newsbeat here. Now, first of all, what's your assessment of the moratorium?
Yes, so thank you very much, Bright, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, so from the 7th of June to the 20th of July 2022, we conducted we gave that amnesty to our customers to be able to come to our district offices. So we are looking at customers who have not received bills, that's the postpaid customers, and also prepaid customers who do not purchase electricity credits, and customers whose meters are faulty. We also have some of our customers who have bypassed or tampered with their meters and are therefore not paying for the full cost of power usage. Are there any other form of illegality? So at the end of the moratorium, which officially ended on the 20th of June, a total of over 115 customers availed themselves for this amnesty. Now, all forms of illegal connections were reported, faulty meters were also reported, and then with the bill issues, these were also reported. Now, beginning today, that's the 1st of August, we started our exercise dubbed the visibility exercise. And it's an exercise, the combined team of the National Revenue Task Force and the Revenue Protection Units of ECG. So we are going to the various premises of our customers to inspect the integrity of our meters. And we are fortunate to have the Ghana Police Service assisting us.
All right, and what exactly is it going to cover?
Yeah, so we visit your homes, we check our meters, inspect the integrity of our meters, check our networks, and also check for illegal connections.
All right. Thank you so much for your time with us on the news. We are grateful. We'll come back to you later if anything comes up again concerning the ECG. Away from that, a total of 422,883 candidates from 977 schools are sitting for this year's West African Senior Schools Certificate Examinations, WASSCE, across the country from today, August 1, 2022.
Today, Monday, August 1, 2022, will end on Tuesday, September 27, 2022. Information from the West African Examinations Council WAEC website showed that the candidates would begin with project work subjects like basketry, ceramics, and graphic design on day 1. The total number of 422,883 candidates from 977 schools comprise of 72 students with visual impairment and 14 with hearing impairment. Also, 60 subjects comprising 4 core and 56 electives would be administered to prospective candidates. The first core subject will be the English language orals on Monday, August 29, whilst its essay and objective papers will be written on Thursday, September 8.
Now, Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, ACFO Timothy Osafo-Efum, says the recent rise in fire outbreaks in the country is as a result of the bad attitude of Ghanaians toward fire safety. He said the service will begin to enforce fire laws to curb the menace.
What we are not getting right is the attitude of Ghanaians. Ghanaians are not serious about fire safety issues. Issues concerning fire safety, we don't take them seriously. And especially, it has even improved nowadays, especially when we go out there for outreach. You don't get the people coming in to listen. But I must also say that in recent times, we are getting the numbers, but it is not appreciable as we had expected. We intend to reduce the rate of increase every year by 60% this year, and we are on course. We'll be achieving that. I think we will still be educating and creating that awareness. We are giving them some time. We also have enforcing powers. And so if we see that they are still not cooperating, we'll enforce. When it gets to that level, we don't want anybody to come and say, we are begging, we are begging, we are begging. Because we have given Ghanaians ample time to accept the awareness creation that we are putting in place. And so if they are not accepting it and we get to the enforcement level, enforcement stage, then no one should come and plead for anybody.
You're also live here on Newsbeat. Up next is Business News with Winston Taki.
Hello, Bright. Now it's time to bring your business right after this. Now to our first business story. Ghana faces an eminent $7 billion judgment debt following the protracted impasse between Eni Vitol and Springfield Ghana to execute a unitization and unit operating agreement at the Sankofa and Afi fields. There is more in the following report.
In a press release cited by Metro Business and signed by the ranking member Mines and Energy Committee John Abdullahi Jinapor indicates that the minority in Parliament has noted with grave concerns the protracted impasse between Eni Vitol and Springfield Ghana, which was organized from a directive by the then Minister of Energy, Mr. John Peter Amewu, instructing the two parties to execute a unitization and unit operating agreement at the Sankofa and Amphina fields. Eni Vitol has since challenged the decision of the minister, insisting that the decision was premature and did not meet industry standards, leading to the stalemate in the implementation of the directive. According to the minister, the current impasse has also led to a bitter legal dispute, resulting in a Ghanaian court order directing Eni Vitol to deposit 30% of its monthly revenue into an escrow account pending unitization. According to the statement, they are also aware that Eni Vitol has commenced legal action in the International Court of Arbitration seeking damages of about $7 billion against the government of Ghana. The minority is very much concerned about the increasing negative impact this avoidable dispute is creating in the upstream petroleum sector, especially its implications for attracting giant oil players to invest in Ghana, bearing in mind that Eni is considered the fourth largest oil producer in the world. It should be noted that the unitization process has been so poorly managed and that Ghana's reputation has been hugely tainted in the oil and gas sector. They have therefore called on the government and President Akufo-Addo in particular to, as a matter of urgency, intervene in this matter and help find an amicable solution to the impasse before the $7 billion judgment debt matures into a pain on the neck of the already burdened Ghanaian taxpayer.
Now, the government, through the Food and Agricultural Ministry, is anticipating to generate an annual revenue of some $12 billion from export of 6 selected tree crops, which will serve as an investment framework to guide the mobilization of both public and private investment into the sector.
According to the sector minister, Dr. Owusu Afriyie-Akoto, government through the Food and Agriculture Ministry is anticipating to generating an annual revenue of some $12 billion from export of 6 selected tree crops: rubber, shea, mango, oil, palm, cashew, and coconut fruit. The minister said the 5-year strategic plan of the Three Crop Development Authority is designed to offer a lifeline to the three crop sector in the country. He added that in the next 5 years, by 2027, the target for each of the selected tree crops is to generate a revenue of at least $12 billion, equivalent to that of annual revenue of cocoa, which is achievable per stipulations of the strategy. Cocoa production has been the backbone of the economy as the most important cash crops for over 120 years and has been under the threat as a result of decreased land for production in the last 5 years due to deforestation, climate change, and other human factors. But Dr. Akoto said the three crop sector, which is being cultivated by 1.6 million households other than cocoa, is a great way to diversify the economy by creating more jobs and reducing poverty. Whilst the country's three crop industry has huge potentials, Dr. Akoto admitted that it faces systematic challenges such as low productivity, poor quality produce, price volatility, limited access to finance and marketing, and a suboptimal regulatory environment. The 6 crops, which are said to have the potential to generate more than $16 billion in foreign exchange revenue by 2030. The 5-year strategy and implementation plan, which was developed with assistance from the International Finance Corporation and funded by the Swiss government, will therefore serve as an investment framework to guide the mobilization of both public and private investment towards a competitive tree industry in Ghana.
I'll be all for business here on Newsbeat. My name is Winston Taki. Sports is next after this break. Stay tuned.
It's 48 past midday in the Ghanaian capital of Accra. My name is Phil John Quarter, and it's time for sports. The local blaster will next play Nigeria in the CHAN qualifiers after beating Benin by 1-0 in the second leg tie in Cotonou. Anna Walker is in charge of the Black Galaxy.
When we were coming here, I knew exactly what they were going to play. I know definitely, since they are down 3 goals, they will play with physique as well and push more men in front. That is why, if you studied my formation today, I played with 4 back, with 2 defensive holding midfielders, with only 1 offensive midfielder who was the captain, with the 3 in front. So we have to hold them, and I know at the end of the 45 minutes, if they cannot get a goal, they will be frustrated. And if they are frustrated, that is where I'll bring in my tactical players, those who can hold the ball, who can pass. And when it got to that time, I brought them in, and you saw that gave us the goal. So we beat them tactically. We were better than them when we made our changes.
That's your sports. Harriet is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. It's time for entertainment news. Now, Ghanaian actor and model Anthony Wood has revealed how acting has shaped his life and the impact he has had on the society. He spoke exclusively to Metro News.
Growing up, I was very stubborn. I became very stubborn at a particular age. You know, every guy becomes like that. I go out, I go play video game at video centers. I run out of home, going to the beach with my friends, you know, sneaking out and doing all those stubborn stuff. But when I started acting, it sort of tamed me down because I began to realize that all those things that I used to do are things that could not impact positively to the society. How do I motivate someone? But later on, I realized that everything I've been through in life, it's a way of helping me to speak to someone and touch a life. Because if I don't have an experience, how do I tell somebody who is going through that situation and motivate them? So then, I've been able to impact positively in the society. I want to take the Christian community. I want to look at some churches that I did drama for: Royal House Chapel, House of Miracle, ICGC, one of their branches here in East Legon. I've done several stage performances. I write the script, I direct, and I get people.
Best Actor in a leading role at the 2021 Ghana Movie Awards also explained how he deals with criticisms, knowing his work is always under scrutiny from the public.
Through my journey as an actor, I've met so many people who have criticized my work, and positive and negative criticisms are what helps an actor to get better. So I take them on a positive note just to get better. The negative, I turn it into positivity in order to perform better in the next movie.
That's it for Entertainment News on Newsbeat. My name is Harriet Adi Bright.
Yeah, sad news there for Shakira. Coming up next is the latest on the international front.
The wife of a Nigerian street vendor called for justice on Sunday after the killing of her husband in Italy, which was filmed by onlookers and has sparked national condemnation. Alika Ogochukwu, 39, was selling goods Friday on the main street of Civitanova March, a beach town on the Adriatic Sea, when his attacker grabbed the vendor's crotch and struck him down, according to police. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has highlighted the fight against corruption and the country's struggling economy. Speaking during the closing day of the ruling African National Congress Party's conference, he said all the measures proposed to grow and transform the economy rely on a fiscal policy that ensures that our national debt is contained within sustainable limits and that spending is reprioritized away from consumption towards investment. The first shipment of Ukrainian grain has left the Black Sea port of Odessa in a move hailed by Kyiv and Moscow. The ship is destined for Lebanon but will be jointly inspected off the coast of Istanbul under the terms of a UN-brokered deal. Turkish and Ukrainian officials say the ship left the southern port of Odessa early on Monday morning local time. New Zealand's borders are fully open for the first time since March 2020, when they shut in an effort to keep out COVID-19. Immigration authorities will now begin accepting visitors with visas and those on student visas again. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern called it an enormous moment, adding it was part of a cautious process. A wildfire in California has exploded in size to become the largest blaze in the state so far this year. The McKinney fire, which started in the northern Siskiyou County on Friday, has already burnt 21,000 hectares. At least 2,000 residents, as well as trekkers on the Pacific Crest Hiking Trail, have left the area.
And that's it for the news here this afternoon. Before we go, a quick relook of our top stories. Minister for Communication Ursula Owusu-Ekufo reviews use of a self-service SIM registration app and the fee needs no parliamentary approval. It stands vehemently rejected by other stakeholders. We heard from former MP for Tamale Central, Yunusa Hussaini, and also an app developer, Maximus Ametogo. The Electricity Company of Ghana begins a nationwide visibility exercise today to check the integrity of meters and address illegal activities of consumers. Ghanaians to struggle for gas and petrol as tanker drivers begin a sit-down strike today to protest what they describe as unfair treatment.